As someone who used to pray for the day I would blow up as a musician just to prove everyone wrong, chasing money and indulging in all the wrong things, maybe someone out there can relate to everything I'm about to talk about in today's video. I've recently started talking about this within my videos. When we're young, we just kind of want to fit in. The lack of being accepted made me want to stand out. I wasn't necessarily gifted in the motor skill department, but I was always creative. And as someone who craved that attention for all the wrong reasons growing up, once I started getting noticed for my creative abilities, like music, it really took my mental and spiritual health down a different path and ultimately led to a burnout, hence not releasing anything in the last 2 years. However, since I learned how to properly lean into that creative outlet, I found myself a career within the film industry, which led me to where I am today. As I became obsessed with learning how to better optimize myself within my career and productivity, I noticed how a lot of people who might have done this stuff for the wrong reasons can quickly burn out. Here are the 7 deadly sins I would avoid if I was just getting into creating content again. Pride. Before delving into my personal experiences, let's first define what pride is. Pride is the feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's achievements or possessions. Unfortunately, this is how pride played a role in my own journey when I was doing music. Now, when I first started getting a sense of recognition when I was younger, that unaccepted kid in me took it and ran with it. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's important to be confident in your work and confident within yourself and your abilities. However, people get them confused as it's incredibly easy to do. Notice I said confident, which means having the trust in your ability or something. The issue with pride is it can be reflective of your past. Sure, you want to be proud of your achievements, but you don't want that to become your personality or turn into some sort of ego trip. Now, when I first moved to LA, I was coming off of this high horse of being someone who was noticed for being what I thought was a successful musician, doing shows, being on the radio, just really being on the come up. Then when I got to LA and no one cared, it led to me getting humbled extremely fast. Same with my filming career. Back in my hometown, I was sort of that guy when it came to filming. I came to LA and I would literally get yelled at off of the sets because I thought I knew more than the other crew members. One thing I would have done differently, knowing what I know now, is to continue to want to learn and not have to learn. I'd continue to learn new skills that can complement what I already know and have it help turn me into an absolute powerhouse of an A player. No one wants to work or hire a C-level player that thinks they are A-level status. But there is a difference in someone who wants to learn to be an A-level player and they're hungry to graduate from C-level status, if that makes sense. Which leads me to my next point, envy. Now, the definition of envy talks about it being an emotion in which occurs when a person lacks another's quality, skill, achievement, or possession and wishes that the other lacked it. This can be a serious problem in your journey because it is so easy to get caught up on who is winning, who is not. Social media doesn't help when starting your journey either. Being on your journey or wanting to be in another place on your journey, in just a world of algorithms and posing for the internet, it's really hard to tell what's real or fake nowadays. Envy played a huge role in why I inevitably burnt out. Now, I was constantly trying to emulate my favorite artists and hated when a new artist would come into the space and just blow up, in which seemed overnight. Terrible trait to have. It's actually insane that I'm even admitting this out loud. But even now at the ripe age of 29, I find myself pushing these irrelevant thoughts back into the realm of GTFO. And just understanding that in order to do this stuff and genuinely feel fulfilled, you can't focus on what others have that you don't. It's extremely cancerous. It's bad for your mind, your soul, and your body. Which leads me to this, wrath. Wrath in the YouTube world could be seen in the form of drama, online conflicts, or negative comments. Leave the drama for the birds, in my opinion. Now, this is just my thoughts personally, especially within the realm of being a content creator, talking about personal development and video tips for content creators. It's just not really relevant in my opinion. Now, to each their own, but in this era that I'm in, I'm trying to personally better myself and just become an absolute unit in personal, spiritual, and financial health. This just doesn't seem productive to me at all. No shade to the other creators who use this to gain their followings, because even with my faceless YouTube channel, I did essentially the same exact thing to get views. Like, I get it. Sometimes you just have to play the game to get ahead. But in terms of this content world, I think that it's absolutely redundant to having a genuine connection with what you do in the content world. Keep the drama for the birds and continue to level up your character to get to that next level. Speaking of character, Sloth. This next one is one of the bigger reasons I burnt out within music and what almost killed my filmmaking / content creation career as well. I'll talk about what truly stopped me here shortly, but before I do that, let's address the sloth in the room. You see what I did there? Elephant, sloth. Anyway, a sloth could be represented by procrastination, lack of consistency, or complacency within content creation. Dude, I struggled with this for years, either getting complacent with where I was in my journey and not trying to push myself into the next level, or just pure procrastination. I think this can relate to anyone, but for example, sometimes I really want to do something, yet I just find every single distraction or reason not to do it. I remember I would hear a song that inspired me to make a song similar, and then start going to write or make a beat and immediately fall into a rabbit hole of all these other distractions. This was especially bad within my video career because a client would give me a deadline, though I've never missed. I would wait until the absolute possible second to knock it out. Why? I have no idea. Then I would sit there and be stressed out and put my mental health through it to make things happen on a super tight deadline. How I overcome this issue now, especially with clients, especially when I get a deadline or some sort of thing that I need to handle? Well, number one, I put it on my task list of things to do on a specific day, and I make it fill a certain time block. Due to Parkinson's law, which states that your work will expand to fill the time allotted for its completion, I will literally sit my ass down and force myself to focus on it. It doesn't always work out in its ideal time frame, but most of the time, rather than not, it ends up working for me. Number two, when I get the urge to distract myself with other things like my phone, I've installed an app called Opal, which blocks any app that I tell it to for as long as I want it to. There is actually no way to disable it, even if I wanted to, when I have it running. So I'm left with two options: sit in complete boredom, staring at the wall, or just finish my task. I 9 out of 10 times do the latter and just knock out what's needed to get done. So let's talk about greed. Greed might manifest as a focus solely on monetization or a relentless pursuit of views and subscribers at the expense of quality content or ethical practices. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm just as money hungry as the next person. However, I also don't agree with selling out in order to reach my financial goals. I have been offered so many brand deals on my Instagram after I blew it up for different products and softwares, but if I truly didn't believe in it, I just wouldn't entertain it. Same goes here. If you ever see me promoting a product, it's probably because I truly believe in it and actually use it. I will not compromise my beliefs in order to reach some goal, even though sometimes I think I would want to. I just don't think I have that in me, truthfully. Let's talk about gluttony. Gluttony. So in the context of YouTubers or content creation, gluttony could be seen as overindulgence in trends or excessive consumption of content without some sort of meaningful engagement. Meaning that if you don't truly believe in what you're doing or talking about, and it's simply for the vanity and metrics of numbers, well, this will absolutely lead to the end of your career, hence burnout. The reason being is because you will inevitably find yourself lost in what it means to post what you post. You might start finding yourself asking what your why is. I used to do this in the past with my music, trying to make the same type of music everyone else was making because I just wanted to go viral. And don't get me wrong, I do think that there's a time and a place. There is this experimental phase that I think you should go through as a beginner, in which you will more than likely rip off exactly what you're trying to do, no matter the type of content creation you do. But, and there's a huge but here, if you don't iterate it into your own sort of style after a certain length of time, you're not going to do yourself any sort of favors in the long run. One piece of advice I could give out to you is this: steal like an artist. Take different pieces from all of your favorite content creators and turn it into one blend of your own thing. Keep doing that until you're satisfied, and then just keep making it better. This last one I'm about to share with you completely took me out and ultimately led to my burnout and me just stopping: lust. So in terms of content creation, lust could be represented by a fixation on fame, attention, or the pursuit of viral success. I was so caught up in the attention from women. I was so focused on getting famous to prove to everyone like, haha, fuck you, look who had the last laugh, and it ultimately backfired. I remember there were times where I would just spend months instead of just grinding it out on my work or music or getting better at my craft. I would literally spend it just seeking validation from female or just not focusing on what I needed to do. Boom. Next thing I know, a year flies by just like that, and I hadn't done anything productive within my time frame except just get fucked up drinking and hanging out with ratchets. So my word of advice is this: to anyone in the creator position, focus on your craft first. Focus on your money. Focus on becoming the best version of you. Have your life in order. Have your fitness in order. Have your priorities in order. Be able to be secure with yourself. Put 2 to 3 years of your focus into building this empire and then focus on the other things. I can't stress that enough. I really hope I could resonate with you on this, because if I did this stuff when I was younger, my life would be entirely different now. Overall, try not to overdo the stuff I talked about today and just focus on building and growing, just being you. If you could like and subscribe, it helps the channel more than you know. I also talked about embracing your insecurities to win content creation in 2024 in my last video, in which you can check out here if you're interested. All right, see you on the next one. Peace.